Head to the Dollar Tree and grab 2 wooden cutting boards. Once you're home, unwrap your boards and give them a quick sand to remove the factory finish and smooth the edges. Wipe away any dust, then use needle nose pliers to take apart your wooden bead wreath. Start hot gluing the beads around the outer edge of your first cutting board. Apply the glue to one side of each bead and press it down so it sits flush with the board's edge. Next, flip over your second cutting board and hot glue a wooden spool into each corner. Now, add a generous bead of hot glue along the tops of the beads on your first board, and carefully press the second board on top, aligning the edges perfectly. To finish the wood, apply a coat of wood conditioner, followed by your favorite stain. I used Early American and a darker wood tint for a rich, sophisticated look. Finally, seal and hydrate the wood with some feed-in wax, letting it soak for 15 minutes before wiping away the excess. Just like that, you have a versatile riser perfect for a coffee station or bathroom vanity.
You'll want to head to the Dollar Tree for some bamboo cutting boards when you see all the wonderful things you can make with them. I'm scanning a keepsake recipe that means a lot to me. The scan is being printed backwards and enlarged to fit the cutting board surface, then trimmed down with scissors. I'm brushing some of Fusion's transfer gel onto one side of the cutting board. Mod Podge will also work as well. Once well coated, the printed side of the recipe is being positioned on top of the gel, then gently pressed to squeeze out the excess. This will need to dry overnight. The next day, I'm saturating a cloth with water, then soaking the paper until I'm able to rub it off gently with my finger. You'll also want to remove any excess gel in other areas of the board. At first, a white haze appears through the graphics, however, that disappears once the board dries. Next up, I'm painting some wooden door pulls with Fusion's black. To prop them for easier painting and drying, I'm pushing a screwdriver through an egg carton flat, then positioning the knobs with the screws into the holes. I'm holding the screws from underneath while I paint the knobs, allowing them to dry on the spot. I'm now flipping the recipe board good side facing down, then hot gluing the 4 pulls onto the bottom of the cutting board to act as feet. Before the reveal, here's one other quick idea to accompany the recipe board. I'm positioning some stencil lettering reading "Served Daily" over top of the short edge of another cutting board, with "Daily" at the bottom and "Served" right above it, stenciling in Fusion's coal black. I'm now the proud owner of the cutest table riser and beverage coaster, perfect for my afternoon coffee. These boards help protect table surfaces from heat and moisture, as well as looking mighty cute. I love how the recipe transferred with a slightly rustic vintage vibe, which fit my cream and sugar perfectly. I also love how this little recipe covered board is sized so perfectly for the oil and pepper grinder right beside the stove. It's cute, functional, and doesn't take up too much space while elevating my essentials. Next up, I'm reaching for a Dollar Tree black wire basket that measures to the size of the cutting board. I'm positioning the board over the basket opening, then penciling 2 dots where I want to drill holes. Selecting a drill bit that measures slightly larger than a black zip tie, I'm drilling 2 holes so the zip ties can slip through. Before I attach the basket to the board, I'm stenciling a mini cross pattern onto the board in black. Ensuring my stencil brush feels dry to the touch, I'm tapping the paint through the stencil, leaving a pattern that marries the black wire basket for added interest. I'm now zip tying the board to the basket, leaving me with the cutest covered basket that can store anything you wish. I'm using the covered basket as an office companion, holding smaller office supplies. Plus, I can even use the top to hold my sticky notes, making them extra handy. You could even make several lidded baskets to stack. And here's one more. I'm choosing a piece of 2x6 that is being cut down to size with a miter saw so it fits underneath a cutting board. After the rough edges get a light sanding to remove any sharp edges, I'm hot gluing the 2x6 underneath the cutting board. I'm further protecting the boards with Fusion's white stain and finishing oil since I'm going to use this in a wet location. I'm wiping the stain on, then off again using a rag, which will leave a water-resistant surface. And I'm now loading up my brand new soap dispenser riser right beside my kitchen sink to designate this area for my cleaning supplies. I love how the riser makes cleaning look intentional rather than like extra clutter, offering a sophisticated vibe to my kitchen. Want to elevate your decorating? Start with 8 furniture legs from Home Depot for this easy and gorgeous idea. I'm using pliers to remove all the leg hardware by clamping down on the bolts, then twisting the legs until they come loose. Landing 2 old cabinet doors in the same style but in 2 different sizes, I'm placing the small door under the large one, then positioning 2 legs on both sides to ensure the smaller door fits within the legs. Now I'm flipping the doors good side down and removing any obstacles such as felt bumpers. Next, I'm cleaning the doors with Fusion's TSP alternative. I love this cleaner since it's non-toxic and doesn't require rinsing. Since these doors are painted MDF, I'm scuff sanding the original finish to prepare them for repainting. Since the doors used to have handles, I'm scraping over the holes to smooth them out, then filling them in with wood filler. After it dries in about 15 minutes, I'm sanding over any filler. Now I'm marking out the placement for all the legs. With the doors facing good side down, I'm stacking them with the smaller door on top of the larger. I'm positioning the long legs on the large door in all 4 corners. Now I'm drilling holes through all the leg center marks, making sure the chosen drill is slightly larger than the screws I plan to use. Since drilling chipped the door finish a little, I'm using some wood putty to fill it back in, then sanding it once dry. After dusting off the doors, I'm selecting a warm white paint called Raw Silk by Fusion Mineral Paint. I'm painting both doors in the same color, starting with the indented areas first, then all the flat areas. I'm ending the painting in long, even end-to-end strokes without stopping to help avoid brush strokes. After the paint dries, I'm choosing a stencil called Café by Funky Junk's Old Sign Stencils to add some interesting detail to the doors, which I'll be stenciling in Fusion's Coal Black. Loading a dome-tipped stencil brush with paint, I'm removing most of the paint until the brush feels dry to the touch. This step is important to avoid any paint bleed. Now I'm tapping the paint through the stencil by moving the brush in all open areas first, then going over the area again in swirling motions to smooth out the finish. To coordinate, I'm choosing to stencil a coffee cup and checkered border in the middle of the small door. Placing some masking tape on the stencil where I wish to stop the stencil helps to avoid any mistakes. Once the paint is dry, I'm now installing the legs. I'm selecting a screw that is long enough to sit inside the hole of the legs while still clearing the door thickness. To prep the legs for easier screwing, I'm drilling a hole into each leg using a drill bit smaller than my screws. From the top of the door, I'm slipping in a screw and lining it up to a leg placed underneath the door. Using short controlled bursts with a cordless drill, I'm holding the leg in place while screwing the leg to the door until it's tight. The screws on top can be painted, or wood shapes or plugs can be painted, then hot glued into place if desired. However, I decided to leave the screws exposed since they married the graphics. And the end result are 2 adorable door risers that will elevate any of your home decor you wish to display. The coordinating black graphics against the warm white doors really pops, while keeping the overall look super neutral and easy to work with. And the woodsy toned legs add some rustic warmth that marry my wood kitchen cabinets and wood floors really well.